the state that has the most power outages, they have elected. Where's the common sense?
You know, we got these ones. That's the thing, common sense is not so common.
Yeah.
Our truck came back. We have to get back for like 2 hours.
How many pounds? I'm okay and what I put together? Yeah. I think you want to come out.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'll go right in.
I'll go right here.
So,
It's cold.
way down, drop it all.
I got some things, you know.
But normally the other.
Did you get any motions?
No, I usually don't have problems.
I didn't have a problem. So I know you're, are you on the channel?
Yeah.
The channel can be rocky. Okay, you're drumming. Like a drumming with the girls when we went. Because I've never been on the Pacific either.
Oh, that's right.
Was
Oh,
calm.
it was?
We went from San Diego to Florida.
Oh, right, that was last year. Yeah.
Up top, yeah, that's
Feels a
what
little
it
high
is.
now.
You can sit there now.
So, nobody.
Yeah. I didn't see your last time. I saw you.
I sent you.
I don't know if you want me to dance. Do you want me to sing it to Nicholas live?
Sure.
Oh, is she speaking right here? Or just
You can speak there and do it yourself too.
I'll take you up on the
Or you
bed.
can sit, or you can sleep there. Okay.
Is the video cute?
Probably is.
There's no sound.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there is the video.
And, yeah.
We didn't find it for the slides, but I'm not driving the slides. You're driving the slides?
I met her at the field the other day. We played Coconut Trip. Trip? You don't know? He's a full
Yeah, I know, right?
Monument, right? Trip?
Yeah, you realize they don't.
That's right. Tell her.
I have my computer.
Time for 95 minutes, but then I have
And then change, you got it. Change in the car, stop. Someday I'll be wishing for those days. It's right here.
They have a tank. They have the two letters transfer
That's pretty, I'll pay it because I like it.
Something to look forward
The guy's 90. I mean, I get it.
They solved the problem. Come in, look.
Thank you.
Why don't you move over, Maggie, since
Say again, I'm moving over? Oh, that's right, people are missing.
Yeah, you're already there.
I'm already there. Okay.
Yep, your name tag is there. That's what I was looking for.
We're missing a few people. Consolidating. Otherwise, I noticed John.
There's no joke that could be had. So I didn't.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We set?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Councilman. Good evening. Sorry for being a little tardy. We're coming out of closed session. The meeting was called to order at 6:45, and the topic of our closed session was to discuss litigation with counsel. Notice this meeting was published in the official newspapers and prominently posted in Borough Hall and filed with the municipal clerk in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. We'll start with a pledge of allegiance. I want to go to my steady here, Chief Moran. Would you be so kind?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Laura, can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Koth,
Here.
Mr. Carnival,
Here?
Mr. Staff is not here this evening, Mr. Tashian,
Here.
Mr. Kern is not here this evening, Mr. Gullo,
Here.
Ms. Hare. Ms. Hare. I'm sorry, Ms. Hare.
Here.
Thank you. So some people think I might be stacking the decks by recruiting firemen, so we have an audience for our meetings lately because it's been commonplace, but it's really great to see that the department is doing such a great job at attracting new members, and that for I think the last 3 or 4 meetings we've been here swearing new people in. So please come, even if there's nobody to swear in. Just don't swear at. All right, I'm going to ask Commissioner Gullo to help me and Chief Moran with swearing in our two new firefighters. Okay.
Okay. You want to do the answer?
Edwin. Okay. I feel like I'm dragging a leash here. All right, Edwin, Jim,
Hey, nice to meet you.
welcome. You want to place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. I, Edwin Mata,
I, Edwin Mata,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of the office of
perform all the duties of the office of
firefighter with the Oradell Fire Department
firefighter with the Oradell Fire Department
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You got pictures? You want pictures?
Stay up there with the chief.
I sold out the house. Okay. Yeah. I love to see that. That the town is always here. Nice.
Congrats.
Yeah, what do we do with the Bible?
Bible's right here.
You raise your right hand. I, Vasilio Sagaratos,
I, Vasilio Sagaratos,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
of
States
the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the government established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
justly perform
all the duties of the office of
all the duties of the office of
firefighter with the Oradell Fire Department,
firefighters with the Oradell Department,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you for volunteering. Congratulations as well.
Sure. Many goals. Many goals. Beautiful. Thank you.
No words tonight, Chief?
Where you going, Amos? Amos, where you going? They, I think, 50. The camp's at 50.
Oh, we still have an audience. Wonderful. All right. Next on the agenda, Laura, we have a presentation, Sustainable Jersey, the Oradell Green Team, PSE&G Residential Energy Outreach.
Yes, Marie is here. If you guys want to come to the table.
Good evening. If you can just check and make sure the button is pressed on the microphone before you start.
Yeah, it's
Okay, perfect.
You wanna start there?
Start?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Coth and esteemed council. I'm
Pull
Emily-
your microphone towards you, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am Emily Gentile, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Oradell Green Team. In fall of 2023, Oradell entered into a partnership with Sustainable Jersey and PSE&G to conduct a residential energy efficiency outreach program. The campaign educates and encourages residents to have a home energy assessment that can reduce energy, potentially reduce their cost, and increase their comfort. This initiative supports the state mandate to reduce energy. The borough received a $2,500 grant and the creation of professional collateral to conduct the energy outreach program. This program is volunteer-run, and tonight I'm going to share with you what the Oradell Energy Outreach Program looks like. First, we'll start with the Oradell website and the video that Sustainable Jersey and PSE&G created for us. Okay. Press it again. The arrow? There we go.
In Oradell, we're a firm believer of anything that we can do to help save the earth, save money, conserve energy is good for everybody. We're partnering with Sustainable Jersey to help residents in Oradell take advantage of PSE&G's residential energy efficiency programs.
It all starts with a no-obligation home energy assessment, which is available to both homeowners and renters of all income levels.
There are a number of benefits as a homeowner. There are things that I can be doing to improve the insulation in my house, the seal in my house. That's going to be better for my air quality. It's going to be better for my electric bill and my gas bill.
A PSE&G approved advisor comes to your home with a checklist of things to examine related to energy use. You'll receive helpful tips on how energy efficiency improvements can enhance the comfort, health, and safety of your home and may help you save money on your utility bill.
The whole process was easy. We got some quick hits with bulbs and power strips. We got some tips how to maybe better insulate. And then we got some longer term stuff, things we could do that would increase the value of our house and really bring down our bills.
Advisors generate a list of energy-saving improvements specifically recommended for your home.
There's no obligation whatsoever. It's purely recommendations. There are grants available. There are low and no interest loans available. The idea is to make it accessible for everybody.
You'll also find out about available incentives and programs, potential cost savings from these improvements, and a list of approved contractors to choose from if you decide to move forward.
Every little bit of footprint that we can change is an improvement. And that stuff does reverberate around the community and globally.
By taking action, you upgrade the energy efficiency of your home while helping the environment.
So essentially, this program is available for anybody who's a resident in Oradell. It could be for renters, could be for homeowners. The less that we rely on the grid, the better off everybody will be.
Learn more about the PSE&G Home Energy Assessment and which program is the best fit for you.
Okay, in your packet, you'll find the community letter that will be sent to all residents, renters, and homeowners, introducing the home energy assessment and its benefits. The letter is scheduled to arrive by early October. It was distributed by Sustainable Jersey. You'll also find a postcard in your packet. We will be tabling at Family Day, and we're scheduling 2 community sessions, one at the library and one at the senior center. We'll be distributing this postcard along with PSE&G giveaways. You'll also see a picture of the banner, which was custom made for the Oradell Borough. Additionally, there is a flyer that will be handed out at the OPS PTA meetings and potentially across the buildings. We have purchased 2 tablets to show residents how to get to the site and to take the next steps on the energy assessment. The Green Team will be posting on our social media sites. And again, as you heard in the video, it's available to all residents, renters, and homeowners, and there are different energy assessments based on income. Upon having the assessment, they can qualify for a rebate. And the goal of the campaign is to have residents visit the website, which is in the video, and ultimately schedule that home energy assessment. We will be reporting results back to Sustainable Jersey and PSENG. We're excited to launch the campaign and look forward to the borough's continuing support. And in closing, we're asking for the following: embedding the PSENG Oradell website in the borough website so people can link from there, displaying the custom banner at the gazebo in Sherrod Park, messaging on the digital display on Kinderkickermack Road in Oradell, use of the Senior Center for presentations. And with that, I thank you for your time and see if you have any questions.
I just have one question. When you're doing the information sessions upcoming, would there actually be a representative from PSENG there to answer just like very high-level questions?
We've requested it, and I'm waiting for the dates. That's why we haven't scheduled it.
Great.
So I'm pretty certain that at least one of the sessions will have a PSENG representative.
Good.
And then the green team will take it from there.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work and nice video, by the way. Well done.
Yeah, who thought Councilman Tashin would be such a movie star?
One take, baby.
You had good hair and makeup.
Really impressive. Thank you so much for your foresight in applying for the grant and putting forth such a professional production. We look forward to seeing you guys up at Family Day and monitoring your continued success. Thank you so much.
Laura, I didn't get one of those in my package.
So I think what happened was they went into the mailboxes, and so they were probably in your briefcases.
Okay, I'll check. It might be in my
But I
mailbox.
have a set, so I can sort of.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any discussion items for the council tonight?
Actually, I have one question, and I'm sorry I didn't ask it. Do you deal with solar at all in terms of, is there some help for these home owner?
I'm not sure.
That's not this
That
program.
might be part of the assessment program, no?
Separate program.
Okay, she said if she didn't have a mic, that it would be part of the assessment program for the homeowners. I have solar on my house, so I'm very interested in more residents considering solar to help lower our carbon footprint. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Old business before the council?
I have one item, Mayor. In our previous two meetings, a resident who lives on Beechwood Road showed up to express concern about a drainage issue in the catch basin in the back of his property. And I just wanted to see what follow-up has occurred to answer that resident's concerns.
So, I mean, Dave can elaborate, but I did ask Dave to brief me through the memo that he prepared and I believe distributed to some, if not all of us, with background on the situation. And I can say I'm still processing how this all works and how the area of town was developed and whether or not easements were recorded that allowed for this drainage system. Certainly something has to be addressed. It's the what, in my mind, I'm still trying to figure out is on the town's shoulder, because certainly a system can't exist within one property in and of itself. Dave, you want to elaborate on this more? There's a lot of moving pieces to this.
And I'm sorry, but there was a memo distributed?
There was one that you guys had received a couple years ago. I think when we first initiated looking at that stuff, I just recirculated that, I think, to the mayor and the administrator.
Oh, okay. So
I can research.
The old memo went to me to kind of, I asked for a briefing on what the history of the site was.
We can, if you wouldn't mind.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah, we'll get that recirculated. But essentially, I guess the item of concern, or where it gets a little convoluted, is portions of the drainage system that the residents talking about traditionally has been, it's in an area that's located in the back of their yard towards the middle portion of it. There's no easements associated with it. So it's really been privately owned systems that they're responsible to maintain. And that's what discussions that we've had internally, trying to work through those matters and stuff to see how we can help out.
Okay. All I'm asking is that we've had a number of issues raised where I feel like it's taken a while to get back to the resident with a conclusive answer. And I just hope that we can improve in that area because, regardless of what the ultimate answer is, and whether or not the resident agrees or disagrees, I just feel that some of these items are hanging. And I realize this one, we're revisiting. But nonetheless, I just hope that when someone takes the time to come in front of the council to express a concern, that we respond to that concern in a timely manner. And if we're not set up to do that, then we have to look at our servicing model and figure out how we can do that more effectively.
Yeah, and Councilman, we have in the past met with that homeowner probably 3-4 times to go over their issues with them,
right,
and walk through different matters with them. And they did do improvements at their property as well. So just so you're aware of that as well.
Okay. Why do you think it hasn't been brought to a conclusion, though, if I may ask? Just
as far as the next steps, we'll have to revisit it all and, see where we can go with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Any other old business? If not, we can move on to new business if anybody has new
I'm sorry,
business.
Mayor, I had one other old business. Update on the recruitment of the rec director.
I was actually going to save it for my report, but I'll certainly...
Oh, no, that's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any new business? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to entertain a motion to...
Sorry,
That's our new jingle for public comment time. I'll entertain a motion to open for public comment for non-agenda items.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, each speaker shall have one turn and not exceed the 5 minutes. Please identify yourself at the microphone and remain courteous.
Guess you're waiting for me.
Seniority has its privileges, Paul.
Paul Tsunis. Good evening. Have three things that I want to talk about tonight. And, one is about the combining of the boards, the zoning board and the planning board. And I've stated before that I would like to see more people involved. And I think it would be better to leave it the way it is rather than combining them. The checks and balances, it works this way as checks and balances because when we do the planning and then the zoning board makes their decisions based on the zoning that we have. And it's been working well, although sometimes I disagreed with some of the things that the chairman said and I said, but you know what? I agreed with him on the checks and balances when he said that, at his last meeting. Now, the other topic, I'm bringing this up again, and that is about the Blauvelt Mansion. And I don't understand why we haven't had a discussion about the Blauvelt Mansion and what can be done. And has anybody contacted Care One to see if they would allow somebody to go inside the building to see what we could have to deal with if we're going to do anything there. And if it can be done together with the Care One, and like I said, I was thinking of a veterans home with Tunnel to Towers, and I think that we could save a lot of the interior, and the dining room can still be used as a dining room. The study could still be used as a study. The library is that they have there, the different rooms there, and the bedrooms naturally would be partitioned off. And I think it could work. Now, it could work if Care One will talk to us, but we have to try to open up some kind of a discussion. And I haven't heard anything about anybody doing anything. I'd like to know if anybody has done anything recently, not in the past. And that's the topic on that. Now, on the third topic, something that's very dear to me, and that's free speech. Free speech is not a privilege. It's a right. And we get that right from our Constitution. Now, what's been happening is that the social media companies are using the back door to censor. And they're doing a lot of stuff, and it's not good for your children also, what's going on with the social media companies. I suggest that you try to curtail children from going on social media. There's something called the American Multinational Technology Conglomerate, which works together with many of our social medias. Facebook is one of them. Mark Zuckerberg is involved with it, and he admitted it, that he was censoring information. We're getting information about all kinds of things of what's going on with the war. What really is going on with the war is being curtailed. Okay? And it's not coming out. The amount of information that we need to know so that we can make our judgment when it comes to our election and who we're going to vote for. And I thank you tonight.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else for public comment for non-agenda items?
My first comment as a citizen, resident of Oradell. Ori Katzen. I spoke last time. First of all, hope you all had a great summer on vacation. Haven't been here for 2 months, business trip and vacation. But 2 months ago, I believe I met with Councilwoman Harar, and you said you going to help me push my initiative about basically honoring Sergeant David Salinas in any way possible. I've obviously modified my initiative, as you all know, from renaming the Oradell 5K. We leave that 5K alone. And I have moved into assigning what we call an honorary street sign on top of the existing street sign, not renaming the street sign. And I propose that one of the first section of the Oradell 5K, which is from the high school until, I believe, Park Avenue or Prospect Ridgewood Avenue, is going to have an honorary sign to honor Sergeant David Salinas. I did speak to the families, and I do have their full support, and I do have an official letter which was submitted to the mayor. On top of that, I have gathered a few forms from different towns that deal with the issue of honorary street signs, and they have in their bylaws a form that people can put in an application and do it in the proper way and suggest, and it would obviously be discussed in a committee and then brought for approval for the town or being put in a referendum for election during the elections, so people can vote if they want to rename a street or make an honorary street sign based, for whatever the reason is. A fallen hero, a fallen firefighter, could be someone in a VIP in town, a sports figure, or whatever it may be. 2 months have passed. I submitted both to the mayor and to you the communication, and I have not heard anything. And I'd like to take this opportunity to basically let you know that I am not going to let this issue go away. I think that honoring Sergeant Salinas is not just something in the interest of the town. It's a duty of everyone here in town to honor someone who basically volunteered to protect us all. And this is one of the things that I would like to see keep on going. And I would like to have this thing done in a formal way. That means if the town wants me to be involved in basically getting this proposal of the form or the bylaws, whatever it is, I'm willing to do that. Or if the town has a town attorney, the borough, has a borough attorney, and they can have something in that language that will be acceptable and can be introduced and approved, I'd like to see that done as soon as possible. Okay, so I'd like to know what have you done meanwhile in the past 2 months, if anything has moved into in that direction.
We're not doing back and forth in public comment, Mr. Katzen. In
Okay.
order to keep the meeting moving,
okay.
if a council member wants to address it during their report, they certainly are free to respond to public comment at that time.
Okay, that is fair. I am asking that this matter is going to be addressed in the upcoming weeks, please. Thank you
very much. Anyone else for public comment on non-agenda items? Not, I'll entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to open for public comment on agenda items only.
So moved.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, floor is now open for agenda items. Welcome back, Paul.
Okay, hey. Paul Tsunis. Resolution 21-225. On affordable housing. I'd like to know the reasoning, okay, stated, and also I think it should be said again to the public what this is. Also, the affordable housing is really a tragedy when it's forced on people. And when it's forced on people, the emphasis is that they can build one unit for every, I believe, 20 units. And this is really to the advantage of the builder. It's not to the town's advantage at all. And the thing is that it was mentioned at one of the meetings of the planning board, I believe, that perhaps, I had probably mentioned it, and somebody else also did, that we should look into doing our own affordable housing. And the other thing is there's such a shortage of affordable housing in this tri-state area. I understand it was 613,000 homes are needed. And with all the stuff that's going on, with all these people, of millions of people coming into the United States also, that's contributing to the problem of affordable housing and where they're going to live. And the other thing is that we do have them down here in Route 17 and Route 3, and also in Paramus hotels. They're living there now. It's not well known, but Governor Murphy has allowed it. So I just wanted people to know that, and I hope that we win with this legislation. And I hope this is not the end of the fight for it. I know it's an uphill fight because we're going to be fighting the builders and the real estate people, because they all want to make money. And they don't care about the town and what it's going to do to the town and what it's going to cost the taxpayer. These are the things that are important. It's going to change the small towns in Jersey. And that's why we're doing this affordable housing thing. And I hope we're successful with this. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else for public comment on agenda items only?
Motion to close.
We have okay, roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Laura, can you read the correspondence into the record, please?
Yes, there's one item, and it's the Oradell Police Report for the month of August 2024.
Okay, thank you. Before we move the consent agenda, does any member of the council have any questions, wish to pull an issue for further discussion or separate vote? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Koth?
I'm voting tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I think because you made the motion, I got thrown. Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Grillo?
Yes.
Ms. Harris? Thank you.
I thought I finally get a say.
I know. Well, could have been if it was a tie.
Okay. So on to committee reports. The resolutions 232 and 233, unfortunately, were the resignations of Linda Van Valkenburg and Amanda Bartlett from the Oradell Special Events Committee. We are sorry and sad to see them go, two very hardworking members of the Special Events Committee that diligently try and plan events for folks around town to enjoy. So we're very sorry to receive those and accept those with regrets. Few things I have, and I'll be brief. Very exciting day in Oradell tomorrow. The milling machines will be waking those in the Blauvelt section up at about 6:45 a.m. PSC&G is starting road repaving on the following streets: Blauvelt Drive, Iroquois, Carroll Place, Sherrod Drive, Neal Court, Seminole from Soldier Hill to Neal, Austin Avenue, Clinton Avenue, Green Tree Lane, Mildred Road, and Wildwood Road. Quite a bit of paving.
Hensler Lane.
I'm sorry?
Hensler.
Oh, sorry, and Hensler Lane. Wow, what a bonus. They will be in town for about the next 10 to 14 days, milling and paving. This will be a disruption to those areas of town, but 2 weeks is a small price to pay for pothole-laden streets, which we're very excited to be on the back end of certain phases of the gas reconstruction program. So I just wanted to remind everybody again, PSC&G has an extensive outreach program. I believe through their customer service platform, they're able to contact folks via telephone, email, and otherwise to let them know that this is going to be going on in their area. The police sent out an alert earlier today, so I think we're on, the leading side of making sure everybody's informed and aware of potential disruptions on the way, especially to school in the morning. So very exciting with that. The only other thing I'm going to talk about tonight is October 6th is less than 2 weeks away. This is the combined day of honoring Hesley Rivera as she comes back to town for the first time since her victory at the Paris Olympics and making the U.S. Olympic team. We have had a lot of people very busy at work on this, from staff to volunteers of many committees. And I just want to say I want to thank everybody in advance, and I'll thank them 10 times more, because the amount of effort this has taken in such a short time frame to plan something like this is just, it's not really the way it's done. You usually have a lot more time to do this, but we had a limited opportunity with her in the area to capitalize on this and make this a larger part of our family day. So we're going to have a parade along Kinderkamak Road that will be an abbreviated route. It will start at Ridgewood and Kinderkamak and follow our traditional parade route and end in front of Oradell Public School, at which point there will be a public ceremony. That ceremony will entail a number of elected officials who were invited and are in the process of still confirming their attendance, as well as some other guests. That should take about a half hour, I would imagine. Perhaps, politicians are, right? They like to talk, maybe 45 minutes. But we hope to be able to transition and kick Family Day off no later than 1:30. We're very excited for Family Day. We've sort of added a few elements to the Family Day that was planned for this past Sunday. Again, the hard work and sweat of the Special Events Committee. There will be a beer garden. There will be a concert with the Kendall Street Group. I'll let Councilman Gullo perhaps touch on that a little bit more. Very exciting thing, bringing a band like that into town. And the police department is putting on their Touch a Truck event as part of this as well. So there's going to be a very large footprint for the Family Day activities / segueing over from the Hesley ceremony. As soon as they are finally approved and reviewed by all the departments, a map of the entire area of the festivities will be online, as well as a schedule of activities and the times that they're set to start. So that'll be out there. Another thing that's happening is there is a postcard that is going out in the mail to all Oradell residents that is advising you of your ability to come to Borough Hall on select dates to get Oradell wristbands. And those wristbands will guarantee, if for some reason there is the ability or the need to limit the amount of people that are converging on Family Day because of this extra event, we want to be sure that Oradell residents are guaranteed admission. So you'll be able to come to Borough Hall. We may do it at the Senior Center. Some of those details are still fluid as I'm describing them, but the concept is what I want to get out, and it's to come get your wristbands, because as a resident, you should not be denied entry into an event because there's some issues with the potential size of the crowd. We want to ensure all Oradell residents can get in and enjoy the event. So that's probably the biggest difference to note from any past Family Day, is that it's certainly your option to come here and get those, and if not, we'll have a place at Family Day where you can get those wristbands on site if you weren't able to get them before. Ted, you going to pick up anything I left out in your report?
I don't need to give my report.
Okay, great. Roger, we're on time.
I love it.
So those are really the two big things that I wanted to talk about. A lot of activity going on in the borough in the next 2 weeks. So exciting stuff. Councilman Staff is not here. I do not have a report for him. Laura, did he submit anything, or we're going to?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. But it's good. It's good he's not here to give his report, because I skipped over the council president, who I know has more ordinances that he wants us to adopt.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have 2 ordinances up for adoption this evening. Ordinance number 2416 is ready for final reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-16 by title only?
An ordinance amending Chapter 300.6 entitled Fees, and this relates to cat licensing.
Has ordinance number 24-16 been published in full, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the general public?
Yes.
Is there any member of the general public who wishes to be heard concerning this ordinance? Is there any member of the council who wishes to discuss this ordinance further?
I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-16 be passed on final reading and published in the Bergen Record on Monday, September 30th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Harrer?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-17 is ready for final reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 24-17 by title only?
An ordinance establishing rules and regulations for valet parking.
Has ordinance number 24-17 been published in full, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the general public?
Yes.
Is there any member of the general public who wishes to be heard concerning this ordinance?
All it's doing is, I have some questions on it, and that's the placing of the cones, the way that they're placed now in front of the Aura restaurant. Those cones are out of the parking area where you would normally park a car. So they're taking up part of the road. And I think that they should be in the parking area. The other thing is, I'd like to know what are the designated parking spaces that they're going to be using, and driving through residential areas. When these valet parking people drive their car, are they going to be driving through residential areas and continuously, and what the operations are and what streets they're going to be driving through in order to park? I think those are things that we should look into, because it could have an impact on the residential life.
So I'll let Mr. Bailey correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this ordinance puts the police department in charge of approving the plan that gets submitted for review by the borough and governs certain safety regulations, thereby which the operation falls under. As far as the residential street, it's a public street, Paul. If they're abiding by the posted speed limit and following all motor vehicle signs and signals, there's not much you can do about it.
Well, you know, I mean, say 50 people show up one night, and these guys are going around Maple Avenue continuously. You know, that's not good for the residents. They should only have a certain way and a certain places to park and not go through residential areas. This is my feeling on it. I don't know if you can curtail it in any way by some kind of resolution or whatever.
So they're required to file a plan that's put on file with the police department and is subject to their approval. Bill, I don't know if you have anything you want to add?
No, you're correct, Mayor, and it's got to show where they're parking, hours of parking, route to get the cars from the drop-off point to where the cars are going to be parked.
Right.
And it's not an automatic. It's got to be approved by the police department and the municipality. You know, if they don't like it, the town can say no.
Right.
Well,
Or say, no, do this instead, or
So the approval is going to be by the police department? Because if they don't violate any laws as far as driving, the consequence of a residential area being, driving through constantly,
Yeah, no, if there's provisions in there, if they violate the approved plan,
Yeah.
they're going to be subject to fines, their license could be revoked, their permits can be revoked, so we tried to put some teeth in it.
Well, I didn't see anything in the ordinance about how they're going to do it.
Well, they have to submit the plan.
Oh, first, and then
Correct.
we will agree or disagree.
Yes, sir.
Right. This sets a process, Paul,
Okay.
by
Yeah,
which
right
there's
now, there's
engagement.
really
Right.
nothing.
There's nothing.
So will that come up to a meeting where residents can speak on that?
No, it's an operational matter that the police department have the authority to review and approve.
So I guess the only other thing they could do is just the residents can protest that and come to you, hear it, and see what we could do?
So as with any situation that there's a disturbance in town that's to the displeasure of the residents, we're here twice a month. We're very happy to receive feedback on issues and help solve problems. That's what we're here for.
Okay, just want to make sure that they have some outlet, some way of saying something about it.
Yeah, the converse side of this ordinance is that if we don't try and work with businesses who want to use this method of parking cars for their customers, it's a free-for-all. and people will park wherever there's a legal parking space or not. So we're trying to put some order to the process here. The town wants to support businesses. We have limited inventory for parking. So this is an attempt to try and meet somewhere in the middle and attract businesses and allow them to use a controlled method that is under the supervision of the police department to help facilitate, their customers' needs, which in this case is parking.
Okay, I hope it works out. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else care to be heard on this ordinance?
Ori Katzin. First of all, I'm happy that you are pro-business and you want to have businesses coming into this town, especially successful businesses like we see Aura Restaurant is. The only thing I would like to say as a matter of caution, since I run a business in Hackensack, is yes, it's public street, yes, it's business, but if we're going to have many businesses in this town opening up and begin to crowd all the streets in valet parking, there may be some inconveniences to residents. And we don't want to make the mistakes that Hackensack did. As you all know, Hackensack has a ban on trucks parking on the streets. A resident can park overnight. And what happened during COVID, a lot of the town began to approve trucks to park overnight in a street, and they approved it for one business, and then another business applied for it, and more and more. What happens today in Hackensack is that so many trucks are parking in the streets that the residents themselves do not have an overnight parking spaces on free parking streets in town. So we like to invite businesses here. We like to give them the opportunity to park free or use the streets of Oradell as valet parking so their customer can spend the money here in Oradell, which is good for all of us. But we just need to be very careful so it does not have effect once other businesses apply for a similar method to use public domains, a public space for making money, basically, at the expense of the quiet and the peaceful neighborhood that we have here in Oradell. So I'm glad on one thing, but we just need to be very careful not to overdo it.
So you raise an excellent point, and just for clarity purposes, so everybody understands what this ordinance does. This is not, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, provide for parking on a public street for a valet service. What this is doing is trying to harness...
Public parking lots, too.
Correct, or public parking lots. This is trying to harness the available inventory of parking in private lots for businesses which typically don't operate after hours, and inventory cars in those lots through agreements that the business, such as a restaurant, may have with a property owner. So the parking is governed under separate ordinances within our laws, and if there's issues with parking on residential streets adjacent to business district, then we should evaluate that if that becomes an issue and make changes. But this is a new concept to Oradell, the valet parking. We've looked at other towns who've successfully implemented this, and this is a way to actually keep cars off of the public streets for parking and making sure public lots are available for people who want to use them, so that they're not capitalized by a private entity. It's really trying to open up inventory of parking spaces that are not typically available for the public to use.
Yeah, that is an excellent idea, because after all, Aura Restaurant is a for-profit business, okay? And if they want to offer services for their customers, they need to pay. They need to build it into their budget and into their prices in order not to inconvenience the residents of Oradell. So that's an excellent point. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to be heard on this ordinance? If not, is there any member of the council who wishes to discuss this ordinance further?
Actually, I do. I had an incident that happened today as I was driving, where I was driving by Aura, and one of the valet parking people whipped in front of me, and I did not even see them come out. And he crossed in front of me and across the double yellow line and went up in the street between the UPS and the gas station, whatever that street is. And I thought it was incredibly dangerous. And I didn't see him. I didn't, he didn't honk or do anything. He just went, and luckily I didn't get hit. So I was concerned. I was looking at this agreement where under valet parking and permit application, they have to submit the proposed route to and from the valet drop-off area. And also under valet parking, what was the number? Okay. There's another point in here that I was just reading where it says that they have to give us a route that they're going. So I wonder if there's any chance that the police could report on us, with us, to the route so we could see what they're doing. Because that, first of all, he crossed a double yellow line, which you're not supposed to do. He crossed my lane of traffic while I was progressing forward, which you're not supposed to do. So I'm sure that that's not an acceptable use of this. And it may not happen often. It just happened to me for the first time. So it drew the question of, how are the police dealing with this, and do they actually have a route? Because if they're going to go out and go into the traffic lane and take an acceptable left turn, as opposed to just shooting across when they think they have a second.
Right. So currently, there's nothing that governs this.
Okay.
And I would imagine if a police officer saw what you're describing, there are multiple summonsable offenses under Title 39 of Motor Vehicle Law.
Absolutely.
So I don't think they would be approving a route such as described. I think they'd probably want to try right turns or have different routes at different times of the day. I don't know. But I can tell you that the police are very sensitive to this, and they do an excellent job enforcing the motor vehicle laws, and they have my full confidence and faith that they would approve a responsible plan or work with the licensee to be able to get it there so that it works for everybody.
Okay, in the interim, could they drop a little message or note to them that there are certain acceptable ways to leave that parking and unacceptable ways to leave that?
Well, once we adopt this, they'll be required to submit a plan to the police for review and approval.
Okay, thank you. I had never thought about it, but as I said, it occurred tonight, and I thought, this is not good.
Not at all.
Thank you for allowing me to ask that question.
Any other comment?
I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 24-17 be passed on final reading and published in the Bergen Record on Monday, September 30th, 2024.
Second.
We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Golo?
Yes.
Ms. Harrer?
Yes.
So sorry about that before, Steve. Your other reports?
Yes, but before I continue with the other reports, I just want to let everybody know that we're down to our final item on the current project list for ordinances. I'm sure more will come up. This final item is to formalize the process for naming and dedication of public properties and facilities in town. So we are going to get to work on the model ordinance that has been given to the committee. And once we get through that, we'll have a formal process for naming and dedication of public properties and facilities. More to come on that.
Thank you.
With regard to the administration committee, there are no updates to report for the committee. Ed, I just wanted to check in with you if there are any outstanding items that require the administration committee's follow-up.
No.
Okay, thank you. The planning board met on September 3rd, where there were 2 resolutions passed for applications that were approved at the August meeting. There was also discussion regarding the master plan reexamination project, namely to ensure that the reexamination work is completed within a time frame that will enable the borough to meet all of the related deadlines and obligations pertaining to the new affordable housing legislation. The next meeting of the planning board is scheduled for Tuesday, October 1st at 7:30 p.m. The zoning board, since our last mayor and council meeting, the board has held 2 meetings, one on August 19th and the second on September 16th. At the August 19th meeting, there were 2 applications approved, and on September 16th, the board passed the 2 resolutions for the applications that were approved in August and approved 4 new applications. The board chairman also provided an update on the Genther Avenue Special Needs Housing Project and said that the application was being carried over until the October meeting. And that meeting, the October meeting, is scheduled for Monday, October 21st at 7:30 p.m. The Historical Committee met on August 26th and again last evening. The primary topic discussed was a project for publishing a photography book representing key times in the key time periods of the borough's history. Representatives of the committee will come to the mayor and council meeting at some time in the future to share more details on this project. And one other item that I have is that I have an update on the train station project as shared by our architect, John Hatch of Clark, Canton, and Hintz. The review of the existing reports, plans, and other documents has been completed. The initial site visit and conditions assessment has taken place. Rough drafts of assessments by CCH and their engineers will be completed this month. A summary of building history and significance is being worked on now and is scheduled to be completed by early October. And as far as next steps, CCH wants to schedule a meeting to review current and potential uses of the building. This includes any issues with the building that will need to be addressed, for example, the current restroom situation. They're hoping we can meet before the end of this month, and perhaps we can look for a time slot to schedule that meeting. Plans are to conduct a follow-up site visit before the end of this month. CCH will then provide a preliminary draft for review by mid-October. The borough will then provide comments back to CCH by early November, revisions to be completed by the CCH team by early December, and they will then provide a final review draft for the borough. Plan is then to have the final document completed in December, depending on the scope and timing of the borough's comments pertaining to that draft review. So that's where we are at with the project, and it looks like things are progressing nicely. And that is my report for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Library Environmental Beautification Board of Education, Councilman Tashin.
Thank you, Mayor. The library's had a rough few months, and it continued this weekend, thank you, with another leak. And fortunately, it was caught and was remediated, and the library closed temporarily due to a fire system issue that, there was no fire suppression system, but that was repaired and the library was quickly reopened. So many thanks to the DPW, Dan, I know the mayor was down there, and to Resto, who did repair work there for us. So that's the library update.
And the fire department, who bailed a lot of water until they showed up.
Oh, and the fire department, thank you. So environmental met on September 5th, and one of the items discussed was the farmers market, and they may have somebody who might be interested in championing it. So when we have more details, Ted will so it's kind of good news. They talked about the PSE&G grant, nothing really to talk about. And Steve, thank you for talking about the naming, because as you know, Larry's Bench is an item that they're looking to do. So 2 dates of note. October 5th, so the Saturday before Oradell Day, or the Saturday of the weekend of Oradell Day, will be the Oradell River Edge River Sweep, where people will be able to kayak from Oradell down to River Edge and clean the river. And on the 20th, corn stalks will be going up. So always looking for volunteers to assist to decorate our downtown. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilman Tashin. Anything for John?
Yes, I'll read. Under finance, the mailings for the last quarter's tax payments have been mailed out and should be arriving in the next few days. Please be on the lookout for the documents, and anyone is welcome to call the finance department with any questions or concerns. The audit for last year's fiscal budget year has been received by the municipal clerk's office and will be distributed to the mayor and council shortly, and I will do an accompanying memo outlining the process for that adoption. Lastly, the Finance Department is starting to prepare for the end of the year, reconciling various accounts and preparing forms and communications to department heads ahead of next year's budget cycle. Under DPW, the committee met and discussed the trash collection bid and decided in favor of the bid candidate Westfall. This was adopted this evening by resolution. The contract amount is for $1.88 million over a 3-year bid, which comes out to $627,000 a year cost, which is a 24% higher than our previous bid with the vendor. However, the price is on par with other local contracts, and mainly is due to wage and inflation increases throughout the years. The contract will allow us for additional pickup days during some holidays. The committee also discussed how we can prepare for our recycling contract renewal with Atlantic Coast Fibers. Committee also spoke about labor needs and labor organization within the department. There will be ongoing discussions as they try to figure out how to reorganize with the ability to utilize the appointed lead men positions efficiently and in the right capacity. A couple items were discussed in various other reports. The Greenway gas project, the gas work is complete. The electric work continues. One of the road sweepers is out of service. The superintendent is working to get that particular vehicle back in service as soon as possible without much disruption to the road cleaning. DPW is preparing for leaf collection season. The leaf collection schedule for 2024 will be out shortly. And just as a reminder, they decided to change the schedule and push back the start by 2 weeks to account for the noticeable late trends year over year. And lastly, the committee spoke about purchasing options for different types of fuel tanks for diesel fuel storage. The committee is leaning towards a fuel tank model that will be mobile ready, which can provide the borough with the ability to quickly relocate these tanks when threatened with a possible flooding situation. And that is the end of the report.
Thank you, Laura. Fire, Recreation, Technology, and Communications, Councilman Gallo.
Thanks, Mayor. The Technology Communications Committee did not meet for the last few months, but we will be meeting next month. Proposed topics for the meeting agenda are in review of the borough's current IT firm, a more formal draft of Oradell's new social media protocol and policy, and the review of the borough server replacement. In terms of recreation, the RDSA Blackhawks football, softball, and baseball seasons are well underway. The borough continues to evaluate field requests and facility improvements in hope of calibrating with some funding, and that hopefully timetable will be within the end of the year in terms of some calibration. I just want to compliment, and I know I've received multiple compliments from the league presidents and officers just at the improving conditions of the fields. And that's a testament to Borough Hall as well as to Dan Nywening and the DPW team. The Rec Committee did not meet the last 2 months, but we will be meeting next month to address any other ancillary items. And Council President Carnival, I'm pleased to announce that yesterday the Borough Administrator, myself, met with two first candidates for the Rec Director position. Both were very viable. We have about 4 more to look at before we will then make a recommendation to the mayor and the admin committee, and then obviously related staff thereafter. So the process has begun. I'd like to hope it'd be done within a month in terms of having a candidate, but it's obviously a scheduling matter.
Will the administration committee participate in the interviewing process?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first round was just Ed and myself, and then we would make the recommendation to you and the mayor.
Very good.
And then just one last thing related to the October 6th event. The mayor did a great job of just framing everything. Obviously, we're excited. It's just a public service announcement for those residents that live on Center, Church, Prospect, the dead end of Park Avenue. There's obviously quite a lot of logistics that we're going to be looking at. So just wanted to make those residents aware that there are going to be some road closures. We'll do the best of our ability to communicate that, but I think it's just important to make that aware that, Prospect will be closed down for the majority of the 6, but there are other ancillary roads that might be, closed temporarily.
Ted, one one road we forgot to mention was that Kinderkamak Road and Oradell Avenue will be subject to rolling closures starting probably around 11:45 and hopefully freeing up around 12:30. So for 45 minutes, no more than an hour, there'll be a detour of Kinderkamak Road as the parade makes its way from Ridgewood and Kinderkamak up to the school.
And that's my report. I have Councilman Staff's report if you want to let Councilwoman Harrer go.
Sure. Municipal Drug Alliance, Stigma Free, Oradell for All, and OPTV. Councilwoman Harrer.
Thank you. Municipal Drug Alliance, Stigma Free, and Oradell for All have not been meeting this summer. I'm trying to reactivate them and get them organized to have meetings in the fall. OPTV explained something to me which I didn't understand. We'd been asked to turn off our cell phones, and I think it hasn't been clear to me what the issue was if we weren't actually on our cell phones. And apparently what it is our cell phones recycle and literally check in with the tower. And it's that automatic recycling that causes the static and the problem with OPTV. And so even if our phones are passively on and we're not actually texting or doing anything on it, it can still cause a disruption that actually causes the viewer to miss what somebody's saying. There's like and you miss a few lines or whatever, and it can be very annoying if you're trying to watch the meeting. So coming to understand that, I would just like to urge all of us to recommit ourselves to turning our phones completely off during the council meetings so that we don't frustrate our Oradell citizens and get conflicts. Then secondly, I wanted to thank Ori for coming before the council again. I'm very supportive of the idea of doing something for Sergeant David Salinas. And I've been trying to find out if we have a process, and apparently we don't seem to have a process. And I wanted to talk to you about it at some point of how do we honor someone who we've lost. And I think that the October 6th event is wonderful for our young Olympic person, but I think it's equally important that we remember those who've given the last full measure and who have been residents of our town. And someone correct me, someone call me and talk to me. Who do I talk to? How do we get this done? Because I do think it's an important thing. And I thank Ori for bringing it up to us several months in a row. And I would like to see this sergeant honored for his service to this country and to Oradell.
So the first step, Council President Carnival mentioned that the current project with the Ordinance Committee is to draft a policy to do just that, have a framework for considering these requests as it relates to public property. So that's next on
That's
their agenda.
That's what I thought when I heard you say that, so excellent.
Once the council adopts that, we'll be in a position to entertain concepts and requests that are submitted to us for consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Steve. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. You have Councilman Staff's report?
Yes, I do. If you want to just quickly read it.
Sure, go ahead.
The Public Safety Committee met prior to the start of the school year to review traffic flow with the ongoing PSE&G work, crossing guard preparation, crosswalk and curbing painting, and reviewing of no parking zones. Anthony Padula, our special law enforcement class 3 officer, was sworn in and started at Riverdale High School. The police commissioner and Chief Wicker met with Bergen Catholic at the request of President Mahoney about placing a class 3 officer on the Bergen Catholic campus. Commissioner Staff and Chief Wicker are happy to address residents' questions on this subject directly, and the safety of our entire community, especially our public and private schools, remain our top priority. We continue to work on traffic calming in the borough. Our ongoing processes include installing streetlights along Kinderkamak and Oradell Avenue, installing crosswalk signs, most recently on Grant Ave and in front of OPS, remembering to wear bike helmets, especially on e-bikes, and you will notice increased traffic patrols on streets prone to speeding. We ask residents to obey speed limits, put their phones down when driving, and if you see something, please call the desk rather than post it on social media. Social media is not monitored by the council or the police department. The Board of Health, the borough will be hosting a blood drive tomorrow at the Senior Center from 3 to 7. One important note, our last blood drive, or the borough's last blood drive, netted 36 pints of blood in one day for the drives that day, the most collected in one town. And thank you for those who donated. And that concludes Councilman Staff's report.
Thank you, Councilman Gall. Mr. Hines, any administrator's report tonight?
Yes, sir. I have one item to mention. But next month, the administration and finance will undertake the annual best practices review. That's required by the Department of Community Affairs. All municipal entities must fulfill this obligation. Fortunately, every year Oradell has received high marks. But this survey must be submitted to the Community Affairs Department by the end of next month. Failure to comply blocks you from receiving grants from the state of New Jersey, or if you have a failing grade. That's one way the state encourages towns to, one, come up with best practices. So that's what department heads, finance department, and administration will be doing next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Mr. Bailey, you have a borough attorney's report?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to report that a builder's remedy suit that was recently filed against the borough, 445 Kinderkamack Road versus Oradell, was dismissed.
Wonderful. Mr. Atkinson, anything to report from the borough engineer?
Sure. I think you guys touched on the majority of the items that I had, but just to touch on it, I'm happy to report, and I think Councilman Staff through Councilman Gallo's report just mentioned the flashing beacons have been installed. Just to note the particular intersections so the motorists are aware of it. Hopefully they'll see the flashing lights when the pedestrians do press it, but it's on Grant Avenue at the intersection of Hasbrook, and then also on Prospect at Center and Church. So just be aware that those lights are there. They're to help the pedestrians be able to get across the street so that the motorists and the pedestrians are aware of what's going on. So just keep that in mind as you travel around in your journeys through Oradell. So other than that, I know the mayor touched on the paving work through Tilcon. So
sorry, Dave, it was just too exciting.
I get it. I get the excitement. See, you should become an engineer. But
I do have one question for you, Dave,
sure.
if you don't mind. We've gone out to receive the second grant for Midland Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a 2 or 3 phase project?
So we don't know yet at the moment because we haven't received the Phase 2 grant as far as the dollar amount for it. I know the first phase, the dollar amount was about $130,000, I think is what the borough received. And I think the dollar amount for the project is about $400,000 to $500,000. So we should hopefully hear soon, usually around October. November is when the DOT makes the announcements for the next round of grant funds. So
perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Could I ask a question about signal lights of sorts? We have these flags for pedestrians to cross streets, which in a lot of cases, to my experience, have been dangerous. I've sometimes slowed in front of, sort of around Aura area because I've seen someone coming across and they may even be carrying a flag, and I've had someone try to pass me on the left, like, what are you doing, lady, slowing down in the middle of the street? Not uncommon, and it's very dangerous. And I also find it down on Kinderkamack down towards the Oak House restaurant, that new one. I was stopping I saw someone coming across. She did not have a flag, but she was in the area. And again, I had somebody pass me, in this case on the right. And I, thank heavens she was more than halfway across the street, so she got off safely. But how difficult, how expensive to have some kind of, those stoplights that have blinking lights, that someone could push a button that would put a high blinking light when someone's needs to cross?
Are you referring to like where particularly is the light located you're talking about? Would it be like in the center or off on the sides?
I've seen stop signs that have lights around that blink.
So what I was talking about, so if you get an opportunity, you can stop over here at Prospect and Center or Church. There's a button at the crosswalk where you press it, and then on each sign on both sides of the road, once you hit the button, the light flashes back and forth yellow on both sides.
So maybe they just didn't know to push it.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, they may not be in some of those locations, but when they have them.
Yeah, there is no light at this
Yeah.
one down by
And
the Oak House. That's a terrible.
Yeah,
gray
unfortunately, even with those lights,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, motorists aren't always paying attention to
Yeah.
those types of
Yeah.
things, and it's an ongoing issue.
Yeah.
And the flags are a good idea, it's.
If they go like this.
But unfortunately, it's very difficult to gather motorists' attention at a time.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
even when I was driving through on Kinderkamek today, the only reason I ended up stopping, there was somebody at one of the intersections. There was no traffic light there, but I saw there was a PSE&G truck coming towards me that was stopped, and I'm like, I wonder why he stopped. And all of a sudden, when I got closer, I could see that there was a family looking to cross the street,
Yeah.
so I had stopped.
Yeah.
But the motorist in front of me didn't see it and blew through
Yeah.
the crosswalk area. So it's an ongoing issue, not just here in Oradell, throughout New Jersey. Motorists just need to be paying attention more so to what's going on in the surroundings around them.
Do we have signs coming into Oradell? And I don't even know that. It says in Oradell you have to stop for pedestrians. Is there some?
I think
It's a state law.
it's a state law.
Yeah.
I know it's a state law. Is there a visible sign?
There may have been at one point where I think the police had put them in the center of the roads to alert them, but even that doesn't help.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, it's, unfortunately the motorists are too busy either rushing to get to
Texting.
where they got to
They're
go,
too busy
they're doing
texting.
things they shouldn't be on the phone, on the car, so.
All right. I just wanted to bring it up. I understand everyone's been working hard to try to solve it, and the flags are certainly a start, but it's ongoing.
Yeah, Dave, I do think in the future we need to evaluate the lighting in the corridor because it's not adequate. It may have been in the day which it was designed, but there needs to be, if we're going to attract more people to the business district after hours, there's got to be greater visibility because what Maggie's describing, earlier in the year we had some unfortunate accidents where pedestrians were struck by motor vehicles. And not to say that you can guarantee that won't happen, but we need to take more action against, what can we do lighting-wise?
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of new traffic things that they've integrated into the signs like what we installed, but they've now integrated like a floodlight on them more or less that when they do press it, the light comes on to try to help, first off, provide better visibility for the pedestrian going across the crosswalk, but it also lights it up for where the pedestrian is as well. But even so, I think additional lighting and, the streetscape lighting that we have was nice back in the day, but it's limited as far as the lighting levels from them, so.
Yeah, even if we approve just at the crosswalks and the intersections, I think that provides better visibility for drivers' awareness.
Agreed.
Great. Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody have anything further to come before the council before we adjourn? Now I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I moved.
Second? Do we have a second?
Everybody wants to stay?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, nobody cares.